Let me explain. No, it's too much. Let me sum up. Someone from across the country asked me to make an award, and I said yes. But I have no idea how to make it, and I've got 2 weeks to do it. Let's give it a shot. The pitch was that they wanted an award that they could hand to people that had a crystal shape to it, right? And this crystal that they're looking for is called a tourmaline. It's also called a watermelon crystal. I found some pictures of it. So we're definitely not buying a real tourmaline crystal, but that's kind of the color that I'm going for. So I have some, I think this is called selenite, similar looking, but it's really fragile, like incredibly fragile. So I actually just went down to a crystal shop in town and I bought some relatively inexpensive quartz. And I know to like a geologist, they're gonna be like, those don't have the same properties, the tourmaline crystal and the quartz crystal. I just want a shape. I am not a carver, I am not a sculptor, I don't have any of those skills. Bobby Duke could probably do this with his eyes closed. Actually, I've watched him make crystals out of wood and resin, so. What if I inverted it? Because this part here is very quartz, and I haven't seen that in the tourmaline, but this edge is really rough. So far, that's good, I think. Put a piece of selenite, and then a large piece of quartz, or like this. Which one do we like better? I feel like that blocks it in really, and this gives it sort of an interesting weight. Well, I'm pretty sure I just talked myself into it. Does that look like a clump of rough crystal, or does that just look like a disaster? So I've just got it with the tower over here and then this open spot, which really isn't bad looking. Yeah, no, I think because I bought this, I want to use it, but I don't think this is going to make it better. I think it's going to make it too busy. No, I think it's too busy. No, it's too busy. Now, let's think about the mold. The mold, I'm using plexiglass. I like it because, well, I mean, we're making video here, so it looks good. And I'm just cutting it out on the X tool. Sure looks like it's cutting all the way through. I know you'll all be shocked to find out that I messed up the math on the first one. So I had to make it again. Alright, so I've got this transferred over to the plexiglass, and I've built up some clay around here. And oh my gosh, what's that? What is that doing there? Yeah. Did you know you could break a crystal? I wish this was smaller. I'm presuming I can break a quartz crystal. If somebody watching right now knows that this is a bad idea, you know, let me know. It won't change anything, but it'd be nice to know. Now I just have to fill in all these bits here. So I'm going to make this all smooth so there's no undercut area like that. I might have to get myself some real clay tools if I'm going to do this again. Moving the clay around is kind of relaxing, even if it doesn't end up looking exactly how I want it. Just the process of putting it in motion is kind of enjoyable. And we always talk about skill or native abilities. There are people that are better at visualizing things, and I think that definitely helps them. I think practice. Sons and daughters used to follow in their parents' footsteps tells you that perseverance is a big part of any trade. 1800s, if your dad was a wheelwright, odds are you were going to be a wheelwright too. 30 years of doing something, you just become good at it. I would like to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Honestly, this week I've been feeling like a total failure. Between struggles with the project and being fished out of my Facebook page, I begin to wonder how others seem to handle things so easily that I completely struggle with. There's nothing like giving away an asset with 250,000 followers to a stranger in a 10-minute phone call to make you think, wow, Peter, what the heck's the matter with you? I guess it could be a form of imposter syndrome, but it's a feeling I know we've all struggled with, even though at the moment it feels like I'm the only one going through it. I know that's not true in my head, but that doesn't always make me feel better. I believe that the process of therapy works and that therapy is a method to help keep one mentally fit. But some weeks are just harder than others, and it's just the truth of it. And for me, this week, being able to talk to somebody who's a licensed therapist that I can just put these emotions out on the table and they can help me sift through them, I find it to be a huge help to just wrap my arms around the problems and get my head straight. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and just by answering a few simple questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. And yes, if you don't feel like you match well with that therapist, you can switch to a new one at no additional cost and without stress. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, and all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/Peter Brown or choose Peter Brown during sign up and enjoy a special discount during the first month. And I'd like to once again thank BetterHelp for continuing to support this channel. Officially happy with this. Got our invisible box. Looks like Wonder Woman's jet from the old Justice League cartoons. Meanwhile, back at the bench, an invisible object appeared around a block of kryptonite. Step, mold release, a lot of it. And we're going to give that ample time to dry. The product we're going to be using is called Let's Resin Silicone Rubber. 4 pounds of it, which is a lot. We should start with about half of this and see where that gets us. This stuff is mixed by weight, and so we're going to start with part A. That is showing, oh, that's not a good unit. That is showing me 644 grams. And then we'll need an equal weight of part B. Three to 5 minutes of mixing, 30 minutes of working time, 24 hours to finish curing. We can do that. And now my favorite part, where we pour this in and watch the mold explode. Alright, and we're pouring the second half here. There's a couple little leaks, so I wrapped this in plastic shrink wrap. Sometimes everything goes according to plan and sometimes it does not. It's been a couple days. I actually haven't gotten back to this because my Facebook page has been hacked. That issue's not resolved, but I need to get moving on this. So let's get on to the next step. If you haven't been to my Facebook page before, I wouldn't recommend going right now. But hopefully by the time this video comes out, it'll all be fixed. Feels like the selenite and the silicone interacted somehow. Like those parts are really wet. Here's a tool from my other job. We used to call this a framing pick. I don't know if they still do. So I can hopefully just get it up underneath. Thank you, Cisco. Nice. Okay. So I've tried to clean this out. You can see down in there, it's actually looking a lot better, but there's still a lot of little specks of clay here and there. Easiest way I know to deal with that is just pour casting, which we want to do anyway because we want to see what this looks like before moving forward. This is quick cast from Tap. It's just a fast setting polyurethane resin. Let's do 16 ounces. I have no idea how big this mold is. I'm guessing it's not more than 16 ounces. All right, and then we're going to do 8 ounces of the other part. This resin will cure white, so let's put a couple drops of dye in. To be careful, you can't use any water-based dyes. I have a whole video on that. The lava bowl. It's a pretty green color. That's actually not far from the color we're actually going for. And this is already heating up, so I need to stop talking. And let's see what 16 ounces does for us. I think we're going to need more than 16 ounces. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh my gosh. This never happens. This never happens. Start to see it turn white. Ooh, I just had an idea. And what I did is I went and grabbed a screw. I don't know if this will work, but it'd be kind of cool to have a handle. It's been about 15 minutes, maybe a little less, but this definitely appears to have gone off. There's enough of a lip on here. It comes out. Okay, pretty. Oh, that's not bad. You know what? That looks like a block of crystal. And we definitely got some clay. I think this is gonna work. We're gonna put some mold release in the mold. There's a helicopter circling outside, but they haven't found me yet, so we're gonna just keep going. But the decisions on the fly are, I'm not gonna put this under pressure because I don't want an entirely clear casting. I know the phrase is crystal clear, but it doesn't appear to be the truth. And for this, I'm using Total Boat high performance resin. This first one I'm going with is my Just Resin Magenta. That helicopter's getting really close. Helicopter's still helicoptering out there. It's stupid loud, but now is the right time to do the pour. So yeah, there's some pink in each one of the tops. This stuff will probably take around 2 to 3 hours, and then I'll pour in the green. 14 ounces of resin, and I'll be using this well-used Cast & Craft transparent green. 15 drops of green dye. Yeah. All right. 20 drops of green dye. Yeah, that's a good color. Okay, and so it didn't quite come up to the top, but I think that's okay. So I'm expecting it to overheat a little bit, and we'll see what sort of interesting effects that gives us. So here's the state of the bench. It's been a few days. Let me get you up to speed. This is the casting you saw me make. The bubbles were too much. It doesn't look like a crystal, it looks like a failed resin casting. We're not entirely happy with the ratio of pink to green. This, with a different type of resin, it's just as bad as far as the bubbles go. So this is the first one that I did in 2 parts with the pressure pot. Okay, so this mold is working. It's been producing all of this. Every time I remove a casting from this mold, I'm destroying a portion of the mold. Okay. As you can see, there's bits of silicone that come off with every removal from the casting. It should have been a 2-part mold. I should have just done that from the beginning. I'm making a new mold over here. That's where we're at. Back there is the vacuum chamber that I used to degas the silicone. Also want to do a quick thank you to Let's Resin for sending out the silicone. It worked fantastic. If you're looking for some silicone, definitely would recommend that, and I will put a link to it down in the description. This is what it looks like when it first comes out of the mold. All these little bumps that are on here, and all that just has to be cleaned up. To do that, I'm just gonna use some 800 grit paper. I realized we're almost to the finish line here, and I haven't even told you who these were for. I got reached out to by Austin, who represents the Maine International Film Festival, which is a non-profit organization that throws a film festival every year. The tourmaline is the state crystal of Maine. Since I already had a sponsor for this month, I offered to do it at no cost to them. That way, if they hate it, they can't get a refund. So they need 2 of these crystals for this year's event, and if they like them, they've asked for 10 of them going forward. That's the reason I made the mold, is so that I would be able to produce 10 more of these if they wanted them. I've really been enjoying the process. I will say I haven't tried to produce multiples of something in a while, and it's been really fun for me. The time crunch kind of appealed to me as well. Sometimes you need a deadline to really get your juices flowing. Okay, we got 3 copies that I'm very happy with that I'm going to be sending off to Maine for the Maine International Film Festival. Obviously, they are made from impressions of a quartz crystal, but the colors are pretty good. I'm happy with the composition. I'm happy with the ratio of watermelon fruit to watermelon rind. I think it looks really good. All that flashing came off with sanding. They ended up being very smooth. A couple coats of lacquer on here. If you get up close, there's some spots that are gritty, and that honestly works really well for this because it looks like the crystals are growing out of rock. How it started, how it's going. I'm actually really pleased with the process of going from this raw material to this finished crystal. I'll be sending these out to Maine to be used in this year's award ceremony. At some point, it's going to be put on a wooden base. There's going to be an LED that shines up through it. I initially told Austin that I'd be happy to do that, and as the process became a little bit more complicated, I said, I think I bit off more than I could chew, and he said, don't worry, I've got a woodworker out here. They're going to do the base, and they're going to do the LED and the black and all that. It's only been 2 weeks since I started this process. That's hard to believe. Yeah. It's gone by in a flash. I'm hopeful that when that second mold, wherever I put it, I have no idea where it is, I'm hopeful that that second mold will do the job to complete the last batch of 7 or 8. The film festival is in July, I think. I've been invited. I don't know that I'll be able to go out, but I appreciate the invite. Any viewers out in Maine or in that area who want to attend, I'll put a link down in the description. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. We're always doing weird stuff with resin here, and I'll see you next time.